What's up, everybody? We are in the building once again, getting ready to go. Let's get it. We're going to be doing a movie review, not necessarily a movie review. I'd say a movie review and a discussion when I open a panel up for people to come up and just talk about it. But y'all know how we do here when I do movie reviews. We don't exactly do a movie review, we kind of just analyze the characters and just have a discussion. We have a discussion about the things as they more or less pertain to the type of content that we cover on my channel. We relate it back to that. Yeah, I know how we do if you ever seen me do a movie review. So come on in, strap on in. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it. I'm trying to find my intro that I'm always late trying to find. There we go. Let's go.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
And what is up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. And y'all know how I'm always doing. Even when I get the show started, I'm still trying to start the show. Still tweaking a thing or two in the thumbnail that I noticed at the last minute. Meant to put some words and some writing on the thumbnail. Y'all don't care about that because y'all already here. Y'all already here. So whether you're catching it right now or rather you're catching it after it's uploaded, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. That helps with the algorithm. That was a reference from the recent Space Jams movie. It helps with the algorithm. I do appreciate everybody who come through and participate in these conversations. Yeah, I know how I do when I do movie reviews. If you remember when I did a review of the not so cute movie called Cuties, it's a movie review, but it's not really a movie review. It's just more of a breakdown of what happened, more of a breakdown of the odds and ends of the characters and the social dynamics. It's particularly between the men and the women, and it's a lot going on here. It was a lot going on here. Some of it is public information, but it's a lot of it that they did put out in the movie that I was glad they put it out. We're going to break that down and analyze it. A lot of the outside, shouldn't say outside children, because he was married. A lot of those children have come out the woodwork saying he was a deadbeat dad. It was some revealing stuff in the movie, some of the stuff y'all probably didn't know, that it was 5 kids between him and Serena Williams' mom, but 3 of those kids weren't his. So he was essentially like he did the stepdaddy dance, did the cleanup man thing, all kind of stuff like that going on in there. But his 2 biological seeds, oh yeah, he made sure they were tennis champions. His 2 biological seeds from the woman who got on board with him, he produced all-time great tennis players. It was sort of like a middle finger to the ones he had from with the woman that didn't work out. And he didn't produce tennis champions from the ones that were in the house, but weren't his biological seed. Interesting dynamics there. Interesting dynamics there. So that's a lot of that is what I'm going to be breaking down, what I'm going to be getting into here. I see we got 30 people in the building already getting things started. So go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that like button as we gradually get this thing underway here, as we gradually get it underway here, making one more quick change, dotting one last I and crossing one last T, and it's done. All right, enough of that. Now let me shout out the early bird squad, those that make it in bright and early before we even get things started here. Appreciate each and every one of you just being jazzy in the building. Says good morning, Bernard, with some emojis. Those emojis show up weird on my screen. Can't always tell what they are, but Aaron B in the building. Shout out to you. Jethro Mullet in the building says, good topic. Yeah, it's a good topic. It's a good topic. The manosphere should be covering this topic. The manosphere should be doing a little dissecting of some of this. We certainly should. Excuse me. Just being jazzy once again. Excalibur, Jay Johnson, uneducated lame. Shout out to you. I saw that the very very wonderful comment that you left me when you said that my channel is your favorite channel on YouTube, your favorite YouTube channel, favorite show, favorite whatever you called it. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it because I'm my biggest critic. So when somebody makes a statement like that, man, I greatly appreciate it and don't take it for granted. And I do see that. I don't respond to all the comments, but I do try to at least read most of them. But do appreciate you. The human chapter in the building says Bernard Riley, and chat Jetro Muller back again. He said he raised girls like the females now should be raising their kids. Family man. Hold on. He said he raised girls like the females now should be raising their kids. What do you mean by like the females now should be raising their kids? I'll say it's not really in the nature, even though some women do it. I won't say it's in the nature or responsibility of women to necessarily be raising their kids to be, to be that go get it, industrious, just champions, conquer the world. He made them into, not billionaires, not yet, but I mean, Serena Williams may hit $1 billion before she die. I won't put that on women, Their job, I would say, more so raise them to be just decent human beings, respectable, just just raise them to be women. That's it. Just raise them to be women. I would say that's the goal. Now I don't, outside of raising some tennis champions, the other kids, they did have good grades. I'll give that. The oldest child was a valedictorian, so they raised some good girls. They did good. They did good. But the type of way that he drove them, like I noticed in the movie, put it like this, I noticed that he referred to Venus Williams in the movie. He called her Junior. Whenever a man is calling his daughter Junior, that means he wanted a son. So he wanted to have a son and raise his son to be an all-time great at some sport. That's what he wanted to do. But he didn't have a son. He had a daughter. He raised his daughters to be that instead. Now you find out in the movie, if you didn't already know going in, that he did have a son that he didn't have much of a relationship with. And we're gonna dig into that. We're gonna dig into that as well. Ask Uncle JB. No thanks. What's going on, Mr. Radley, in the chat room? This dude. He said, shout out to Vape King. Shout out to Lawrence. What did I say? Retano. Shout out to Lawrence Retano. Shout out to United Fitness. Says the new setup is dope. Getting better and better every day. Getting better and better every day. Shout out to you. But shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. But no, we about to get into this. We about to get into this. Come on in. Hit that like button. Let's get ready to go. Let's get ready to go. So out the gate. Out the gate with this one. My initial thoughts on it are pretty much this. And this is a thing that I was more or less looking out for. This is what I was looking out for. These are the type of things I look out for when I'm doing a review on a movie. I again, like I said in the pre-ramble, I relate it to the things that we talk about in this space. We talk a lot about how women nowadays they do their own thing. They on their own separate mission. Is what it is. The climate is what the climate is. The market is what the market is. Women get on their own separate mission. What he did, it absolutely positively would not have worked if she wasn't 100% on board with him. It wouldn't. It would not have worked if she was 100% on board with him. He would have had to, he would have basically had to just kick her completely to the curb and do it with the kids by himself. But the way he was doing it, because it was moments when, and they kind of alluded to this, it was moments when he was training them full time. That was his 9 to 5, training the kids full time, pretty much. And she was working 2 jobs. Then there was times when he was training them during the day. He was working a third shift, and she was working a job. But overall, if she wasn't 100% on board, it just would not have worked. Because there was plenty of moments where, there was ample opportunity for her to disagree with him, for her to be trying to fight with him, for her to be trying to argue with him. And she didn't agree with everything he did. Okay. She didn't agree with everything he did. And there was a lot of really good moments because it did become a moment in the show where, in the movie where, he had took him more or less far as he could take him with his training. He had to find a professional to do it. And they enlisted a professional from somewhere, some white dude. Actually, the first white guy who was training Venus and Serena Williams, the guy who played the character, it was actually the guy who trained Venus and Serena Williams was actually the same guy who had Olivia Pope or Kerry Washington, in the broom, bent over in the broom closet in Scandal. That was the same white dude that that initially trained Venus and Serena Williams how to play tennis in the movie.
You don't find that suspicious?
No, I'm just playing. Whenever somebody say anything to sound conspiratory, that's the new drop that Umar Johnson.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Gotta love that. Gotta love that Umar. What the hell did I say? Never mind, I'm ignoring that. But anyway, gotta love that Umar Johnson. Oh, as soon as dudes go to getting weird, you don't play the X-Files music no more. You just drop the.
You don't find that suspicious?
Oh man. About to have a lot of them coming. I got to get that Jesse Lee Peterson and it's only I've heard Jesse Lee Peterson do it, but only from Abba and Preach when they start dropping that beta. Jesse Lee Peterson doing that. I gotta get that on here whenever somebody start tripping. Gotta drop that beta. gotta do that. Gotta do that. Shout out to Jay Daniels. He says women are not supposed to agree with everything we do, but they are supposed to follow our leadership. And that's what was happening in the movie. That's legit what was happening in the movie. She disagreed with him on a lot of stuff that he was doing because let's face it, If you decide before your kids are even born that they're going to be all-time greats at something, and you decide what that is, and your whole life's goal, life's work and mission is to make them become that, and you go out and do it, you do have to be damn near crazy. You got to be in a psychotic way obsessed with it. It's no other way around it. You got to not have an ounce of wiggle room for, oh, I'll let them find their own way. Oh, well, they're just not, I'll just guide them along. They figure out what they like and what they want to do, and I'll just help them be the best at it. No, 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 no. I decided before you were born what you were going to do, and God damn it, you're going to do it. If you got that mentality as a father, it's impossible to have that mentality but also be sane and open-minded and all of that. No, you are a dogmatic madman. Ain't no way about it. Ain't no other way around that. You are, if that's how you operate, and as a father, you are a borderline psycho. It's no other way around it. That man operated practically crazy with the stuff, but that's how you get the results. That's legit how you get the results. I had a small pinch of that at one point, and I admitted this before, and I feel bad about it because after it was a moment when I was real hard on my boys, but then after the divorce and everything, I kind of eased up on them a little bit because I'm sitting there trying to overly psychoanalyze their mind state with the mom and dad breaking up in two separate households and all of that. So I kind of eased. I I took the foot off the gas and just being that type of dad. But when you in that zone, oh yeah, you are crazy. Make no, yeah. Shout out to see Pablo get where I'm going. Joseph Jackson, yeah. If you decide before they're born that they're going to be the damn music artists, they're gonna do music and going to be all time great and sell millions and blah blah blah, going to be the best that ever did it. If you decide that before they're born, you have to be crazy in order to make it happen. LeVar Ball, crazy. Joseph Jackson, crazy. Serena Williams' dad, it's some crazy in there. All right. You got to be dogmatic, religious about it. That has to be your religion. No other way around it. So yeah, he was on some crazy stuff where he was doing some stuff where I was sitting there looking at it like, okay, that kind of don't make sense. Okay, you hired these because there was a moment where he hired some coaches. Okay, he hired some coach, hired a coach. Coach supposed to be training with him, supposed to be working with him, and these people had access. They could get endorsements, sponsorships. They can get them right on the right, uh, the path to being, professionals, early on. And he was like, "No, I'm pulling them out of this. They're not going to compete. We're not going to, he had all kind of stuff in his head. He had a game plan in his head, and he was determined that nope, this is my game plan. I had it before they was born. We sticking to my game plan. Nobody else is coming in here flipping the tables on the game plan." And he had to get in the face of the men that they hired. Basically, you had to tell them white men what to do. He's like, "No, this is my shit. I hired you. You work for me." Even though he wasn't paying them nothing, he was like, "You still work for me. You still work for me." And we doing what I say when I say how I said it. And his wife disagreed with some of that because they ended up firing a guy who was in position to help them out. They ended up firing a guy. And well, no, he ended up firing the guy. And the move kind of didn't make any sense. To me, it didn't. To me, it didn't. To his wife, it didn't. But you want to know what she didn't do? The whole movie, I was watching out for it. She never disagreed with him in front of anybody. She never disagreed with him when him and that guy was going back and forth. She stayed in the back. When it was just the two of them there, she voiced her concerns. I was like, hey, that's how it's supposed to go. She never disagreed with him in front of the kids, even though she disagreed with some of the stuff that was going on, some of the stuff that he was doing. She never did it in front of the kids. I was like, good. She was on board. Like, she was absolutely on board. And I'm going to get into the moments where she kind of got a little out of pocket. We're going to break that down too. It's some moments where she got a little bit out of pocket. We don't know to what degree it was, theater for the movie, but we're just going to assume it all happened exactly the way it was depicted, because we're going to break down and get into some of the moments where she definitely crossed the line. But her being on board with his vision, gung ho, crazy as it may be, he produced it. He won. He built those tennis champions. He made them what they are. Okay, he did it. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Now, that takes us back to what happened with the initial marriage, because we know when this guy is driven and on board, he could produce all-time greats. He could raise his children to be all-time greats when he's driven and on board with it. So they calling him a deadbeat for what he didn't do for his the kids from his first marriage. But you do have to wonder, one thing that we can absolutely positively say, and this is the only controversial part where I may get, where you could probably etch out some criticism for him, but not really. One thing that, well, I'll say this first. One thing that can't be said, you can't look at that situation and say, whatever went wrong with that first marriage, whatever went wrong with that, it's more than likely that first woman, that first wife not being on board. That's more than likely what happened. More than likely what happened. Because we could see with a woman getting on board with him and not getting in his way, we could see the results and what happened with that. We could see the clear-cut results and what happened with that. So one thing is for sure. One thing is absolutely positively for sure. We cannot say that we can't look at that situation and say that, okay, it was something that he did wrong, something that he wasn't doing. No, we can pretty much rest assured that it was probably the woman that just wasn't being on board. He probably had a similar vision, similar goal, similar dream for the kids. She probably was in the way, fighting them every step of the way. Because a lot of times they will do that. They will have their view, their vision of their kids, as they always say. We hear that all the time. They always saying, these are my kids. My kids. That's how women talk. Even when they married, they say, these are my kids. You ain't about to be doing all this with my kids. Shout out to Pablo Frescobar. He says men don't have the same level of influence and control with children of divorce as children that live in their home. If you're saying that, if you're talking about, well, I mean, with me it was different because they were in my home. But yeah, no doubt. No, I get that 100%. You're talking about him. Yeah, he wouldn't have the influence. But what I'm talking about is, how'd it go from this man who is like in the Hall of Fame of fatherhood? He is in the Fatherhood Hall of Fame. How's a woman married to him, got children by him, all born into a marriage, and we just saw it. We saw the evidence that all you got to do is just get on board with him and shut your mouth for the most part. Most of the time, you can say a little bit, you can voice your concerns and disagreements. For the most part, keep your mouth shut, get on board, play the role. It was times where she had to get on board and play that role. She was out there helping him with the tennis. She'd work her shift, she'd get off work, and she'd go help them with the tennis, because it was times where he had to work or he had to do stuff. Or it was a lot of time. It was put it like this. Just long story short, it was a lot of times where she was absolutely positively on board. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. So we can rest assured that whatever happened with that first marriage, it was probably the end result, the reason that didn't work, because she absolutely wasn't on board. And now, after the fact, when he had to wash his hands with that woman, it looked like he washed his hands with those kids and just said, to hell with it. And some dudes take that approach. I'm not about to be that second-class citizen parent. Either they got to be with me or the hell with it. I'm not about to play that uncle dad game. I'm not about to be asking you, when can I see them? I'm not about to be fighting you in a court for kids that's supposed to be my kids. If I got to fight for them in court, they're not my kids. They're clearly yours, but they're not mine. And some dudes just on that, they just gonna wash their hands with it cut a check and be done with it. Go start over. Oh, you want me there? You want me in your life? Okay, give them to me. Okay, give them to me. Or come with me and get on board with me 100%. You can't be on board with me 100%. You don't want to give me what I want. You still playing these games. I'm not about to fight, argue, or beg. I'm going to cut ties. And you're going to feel the impact of me not being there. That's how some dudes operate. That's how some dudes operate. And y'all know where I'm at with it. I say fight tooth and nail and get your damn kids. That's where I'm at with it. But some dudes just be like, nope, I'm not about to play the games. I'm not about to do this whole boat and pony show with you. Not about to do it. Shout out to almost missed this one. W. Alfonso for the cause came through and dropped his last $2 on it. Shout out to you.
These last $2, I'm not gonna lose.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. More or less what happened with that first situation. But it's easy for them right now to call them a deadbeat, but they're not looking at what ultimately what happened, what went wrong, why it went wrong. And then when he washed his hands with it and went and found another woman, a baby mama, mind you, a baby mama with 3 kids. She had 3 daughters before he got with her. 3 whole daughters. And that's the thing right there. He did the stepdaddy dance. And that brings us to the part where she got kind of got out of pocket with him, where he basically you know, what I'm trying to say is this. She threw it in his face. She threw it in his face that I forgot what she called him. I forgot she more or less basically said that I can't remember the exact wording, but I'll just more or less explain what happened. She threw it in his face that he had other kids. And they didn't depict it right in the movie because they made it seem like he just knocked up some skeezer. That's what I thought. I thought he just had knocked some chick up and had a 16-year-old son. And this was when Venus and Serena was, around that 10, 12, maybe early teens age. She threw it in his face. He had a 16-year-old son that just showed up out the blue, and he was like, "Oh, my son found me." So it's like he wasn't in the boy life, and she kind of threw that in his face, and she threw a number of things in his face, and she even said if it wasn't for the girls, she wouldn't be with him at all. Like they was having an argument, and she threw that in his face, and then he rightfully, in my opinion, rightfully checkmated her, where he was like, if it wasn't for me, you would be broke. Because at this point they was living in some really nice house out in Florida when she was when Venus and Serena Williams was right on the verge of becoming superstars. They was already technically famous. Everybody knew about him, but he was holding them back from going pro. That was another one of those decisions that was probably not a good decision, but it worked out. That was one of those decisions he made on the strength of his craziness. And I know what I know, and I know what's best for my girls. But whatever. So they was living in some nice house that was being paid for by the white folks that was basically training Venus and Serena Williams at that point. Because they was like, hey, we'll pay for your whole family. Well, no, he demanded that. Y'all gonna pay for our whole family to live in a nice house close to the place where they doing their training. So he pulled off that boss move. Y'all trying to make millions off my daughters, okay? Yeah, y'all gonna take care of us all right now. And then so right now he got their whole life funded, and they living damn near rich basically before Venus and Serena Williams ever went pro. And then so that's why when he checkmated her on some, where would you be if it wasn't for me? You'd still be broke, living in some apartment in Compton with three kids by yourself, So he did that stepdaddy dance, and she tried to throw all of his shortcomings in his face one time when they got into an argument, and he had to check her and let it be known that what it is. You'll be nothing without me. Everything that you are, everything is about to be great in your life and the life of your kids, even the ones that ain't mine, is about to be because of me, because of what I did to this, did with this. Because she tried to throw in the face that she was working. There was a time when she was working 2 jobs when he was training them full time. She tried to throw all that in his face. They had an argument that was borderline reminiscent of the argument that happened in Fences between Denzel Washington and can't remember the character's name. Y'all know the chick. Y'all know the chick when she was arguing and yelling and had the snot bubble coming out of her nose. But it was a definitely an on point conversation where the fact that she was a baby mama that I was so glad that they didn't just sweep that under the rug and let her completely win the argument. I was so glad that the movie took the time to point out that your ass was broke with 3 kids in Compton before you found me, and now look where you at, bitch. Okay, he didn't say bitch. He didn't say bitch. Viola Davis, thank you, Azrael. He didn't say bitch. Shout out to that Key and Peele skit. And I said, bitch. Serena and Venus Williams were so athletically gifted that they were able to overcome his bad tennis decision. No. See, we not doing that. We not doing that. That they had to overcome him. No, they are where they are because of him. It's a lot of black people walking around with some good genetics. They all don't make $100 million playing tennis or basketball or football or whatever. No, we're not doing that. That they had to overcome it. No. They are what they are because of what he did. His decisions were unorthodox because they were good enough to play pro or semi-pro or exactly whatever the lingo was, but he held them back for a few years, and they just went nose to the grindstone on terms of just training, just hardcore training. But it's certain things that you learn in real time in the game, that nervousness of the game, that overcoming the adversity, you having a bad game and the person you playing having a good game, how to fight back and overcome that. And it's certain stuff in the game that you don't experience until you play the game. So holding them back and not letting them go pro sooner, or not letting them compete sooner, like they went a long time where they could have been playing matches in the juniors. It was called, I think that's what it's called, in the juniors. They could have been competing in the juniors to get them ready for the pros. For whatever reason, he didn't let them do that. But as far as their training regimen, no, he didn't stop them with that. And the only reason that they were so skilled to the point to where the big wigs would even look at them and say, "Oh, damn, he got the next Michael Jordan on his hands." The only reason they were able to just look at that and see that and go with it and lean with it and rock with it was because of everything that he did. They would have just been some without him, without that athleticism, they just would have been some hood chicks that could fight. They would have been just going around just beating up light-skinned girls like that. No, he made them what they were. Okay. He made them what they were. We ain't taking that away. We ain't taking that away at all. Facts, he made sure their bodies wasn't overworked as children in those tournaments. See, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think getting that game experience was important, and he deprived them of that. He legitimately deprived them of valuable in-game experience and overcoming adversity in game. Like that's something that you really can't argue or fight with. Like athletes, they need that. They need to get on the court. Like we've seen that a close to home thing that I could say that happens in situations like that is pretty much this. I remember when my brother was a freshman, he was good enough to play varsity. He was good enough to play varsity as a freshman. He was real good. But they opted to put him on JV because he wasn't good enough to dominate on varsity. He wasn't good enough to start on varsity. He barely was good enough to truly get in the rotation on varsity, but he was good enough to play with them, and and he showed so much potential that he was going to be a superstar. It was like, hey, just put him on varsity. Maybe he'll earn some playing time by the end of the season. So it was like, okay, do we let him play varsity? Because he is good enough to play varsity, but look how many reps he's missing out on. Yeah, he's learning a lot in practice, but being on the if he it's you get more experience, averaging 20 on JV than what you're going to get riding the bench for varsity. So that was sort of the debate. Do we put him on varsity because he is good enough, he might get some playing time, or do we just let him, drop 20 a game on JV? That in-game experience of being on JV is more valuable because you got to feel real in-game pressure. You got to feel what it feel like. Okay, if you scoring a lot of points and now they double teaming you every time you get the ball, they putting the full court press on you, they doing this, you doing that. You gotta, you needed that experience. So yeah, I think he played like half the year on JV, and the JV coach was kind of doing some stupid stuff. And the varsity coach said, "Look, if you're not about to be playing him the whole game, we'll have him dropping 30. It's like the JV coach was trying to bring him along slow too, so so he could try to keep him on JV one more year." The varsity coach was like, "Nope, yoink." Varsity coach brought him up to varsity, but then he didn't play a lot of playing time on varsity. So his sophomore year, it's like he kind of missed a year of valuable basketball. And I did a lot of training. He did a lot of work, put up a lot of reps in the gym, but he didn't put any reps out there on the court in real live game. And so I don't think it was a case where he would have overworked him, because, who else? Was anybody else getting overworked? Everybody else make it pro through that same avenue of playing a lot of matches in the juniors. Everybody else make it like that. So that's why I think his decision was probably a bad decision, but hey, it was his decision and couldn't nobody tell him otherwise. And if you don't like his decision, then fuck you. That was his mindset. But it was his decision, but it was a questionable decision, but either way it go, it worked out. So I'm not going to criticize the man. Right on. Yeah. Just having those great genetics don't mean you're going to get there. Every NBA player always say there was somebody that was better than them that didn't make it. And then when they figured out, Kenny Smith was talking about this on that show. I forgot what it's called. Not Inside the NBA, but a show that came on. It's come on NBA TV, where all the the ex players who sit around and talk. And he said that, and they figured out the thing that made it, all of them make it, even though all of them could point to a guy who was better than them coming up that didn't make it. It was discipline. And that's ultimately what it was. He instilled the discipline in them. That was ultimately what it was. That's the difference between somebody walking around with some great genetics but don't make it, and somebody walking around with those same great genetics and they do make it. Discipline. That's ultimately what it amounts to. Low end theory in the building, says Bernard. Their end results are evidence that his methods work. Absolutely. Too soon would have turned out differently. Yeah. Well, we don't know for a fact how it would have turned out, but I can just confidently say that it was unorthodox, and it didn't make sense at the time to not have them playing matches. It just didn't make sense at the time to not have them playing matches, but it worked out, and you don't argue with results. But everybody disagreed with him, wife included, but she didn't disagree with him publicly. She never disagreed with him in front of the kids. And she just, so she was absolutely on board. But like I was saying, shout out to Low End Theory. Appreciate you dropping that $5 on it. Now, where we at? We let's see. Moving on. I talked about how she tried to throw it in his face. A lot of his shortcomings as a man, and he G-checked her on "you be a broke chick in the projects with 3 kids." In Compton, in an apartment in Compton with 3 kids, because he did that stepdaddy dance. So you can't say nothing to me, because I put the cape on and saved you, and that was, that got to be one of the determining factors of why she understood she had to get on board with this dude. And it makes you question why the previous wife didn't realize what she had in him, because he made it. He made millionaires. He made millionaires. He said, "To hell with those kids from the first marriage. She ain't on board. Done. Wash my hands there. Starting over fresh. Found a chick who already had some kids. You know, I'm going to make my 2 biological kids become all-time greats. The other 3 that wouldn't mind, okay, we'll make sure they get some good grades in school. But I'm making sure my 2 biological seeds become all-time greats." That's how men operate. That's how men operate. That's how men operate. But one other thing that I'll point out here, and I don't think nobody caught this. This is a part that I don't think nobody caught, and I'll open it up in a little bit after this, so y'all can give y'all thoughts. We can just have a round table discussion, so to speak, about the movie. Did anybody catch how much he talked about? Because he was born 1942. Okay, he talked a lot about the Klan, how he was running from the Klan and racism and white people. We told a situation where how he was he had bought something, or he was selling something, or I don't know. He was handing money to a white man, and you're not supposed to touch a white person, and his hand touched a white person, and he was a boy at the time, probably teenager, and the white man hit him, and he basically got jumped by a group of white men. He talked about that kind of stuff all the time. Now fast forward to early 90s when he's trying to raise his daughters to be tennis champions. Who was beating him up then? Okay, and I hate to go here, but just follow me. He always talked about the racism, how he didn't get the respect he felt he deserved in this world. Okay, and he wanted to make sure that people respected his children, that people respected his daughters. Wanted to make sure that the world respected them. That's what he was on. Okay, that's what he was on. So I understand that. That racism that he talked about, that was part of the driving force behind what led him to push them the way that he pushed them. That was a huge part of it. Huge part of it. But here he is in a new world in the early 90s when he's training his daughters. He's in a whole new world at that point. And while he was training his daughter, something happened. And this was one of the guys, one of the hood dudes, one of the Pookies and Ray Rays, as depicted in the movie. They ain't call them that, but it's clearly that's what they were. Some of the Pookies and Ray Rays essentially started flirting with the oldest daughter, the one that I said was a valedictorian. This one isn't his biologically, but he she was there because he had all 5 of the kids with him. He was training Venus and Serena Williams while the other girls off to the side doing something. The oldest one, who was a valedictorian, she's sitting there doing homework, and the Pookie and Ray Rays, the hood dudes, they flirting with her. They not being too aggressive. I mean, they not being derogatory, but just a little aggressive. And he over there like, hey, go on, leave her alone. She's studying, leave her alone. And and they kind of getting live with him, and then he got into it with him. He got beat up. No other way around it. He ended up getting beat up by them. And and it was interesting because when they made it back to the house, and the mom was like, "What happened?" And one of the daughters was like, Venus or Serena, one of them like, "Daddy got beat up again." And I'm like, man, is that bad? To where, I mean, I've never seen it that bad in the hood where you could literally say, "Daddy got beat up again," like the Pookies and Ray Rays is going around beating up upstanding fathers. I mean, it happens, but I didn't think it would happen. I don't think it happened that much to where it's just "Daddy got beat up again" is a statement that should come out of a kid's mouth. But anyway, yeah, he got beat up protecting his daughters, even the ones that weren't his biologically, from the Pookies and Ray Rays in the hood. Another thing that happened, can you just peep this out? It was a woman who saw how he was pushing. This was a woman across the street, single woman, no man there. She stay across the street and she see how he pushing the daughters. What did she do? She called Child Protective Service on him. Okay, y'all peep that part. She called Child Protective Service on him, saying that he too hard on the daughters, on his kids, and they being too hard on these kids, and this or that, or blah blah blah. And then he had to argue with her. The wife had to walk across the street and check the chick. They had those kind of conflicts going on where it's okay. You got the Pookies and Ray Rays in the hood, beating him up and harassing him while he trying to train his daughters and stuff, or harassing the other daughter while she trying to study. He got the Pookie and Ray Rays in the hood. Then he got the Keisha to stay across the street to see a man leading a family and being hard and putting expectations on the whole family, and she's sitting there hating on him, arguing with him, talking shit all the, left and right, to the point to where Keisha called Child Protective Service because he being too hard on his daughters. But keep in mind, everything he ever complained about was racism. He complained about racism the whole movie, but it was all racism that happened in the past. But every white person in the movie, every white person in the movie was somebody who was, trying to help them out. But every other black character in the movie, and I paid attention, every other black character in the movie was an antagonist that was doing something to try to mess up what they had going on. So that was just an interesting dynamic, and I hated to point it out, but I pay attention to stuff like this when I watch movies. I paid attention. It was Akeisha across the street who was hating on that father, putting hard requirements and expectations on the children. It was a Pookie and Ray Ray's that was trying to get at one of the daughters, and then he's saying leave him alone, and now they jumping him, they beating him up and stuff. Every antagonist in the movie was black. I noticed that. I couldn't help but notice that. Every white person in the movie was either the first one they interacted with. I mean, it was some white people that they weren't exactly antagonists, but they were just like, they didn't see the vision, so they didn't want to, help or, take on Venus and Serena Williams, or, because he needed to hand the training over to somebody at some point, because he just couldn't do it forever. He had to get them with some professionals. By the time they were about like 12 and 10 years old, he had to get them with some professionals. So yeah, it was some that just didn't see the vision and they said no, but the ones who did see the vision, they hopped in 2 feet first, head first, just hopped in like, I'm gonna help you out. The other ones, the ones that actually ended up, that I talked about before, how they basically paid for all their living expenses and paid for all the training. It was like hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're gonna front load all of this because we know, if we can just get 5%, I think it was 15%, but if we can just get 10% of everything that they make, we in. We in here. And so he was so staunch down, still walking around, calling out every little aspect, any little subtle microaggression, anything he thought was potentially racist, and talking about all the racism from the past. But it was clear and obvious that wasn't nobody stopping him, wasn't nobody in his way, wasn't nobody blocking him. And his only posers, go back to what Ali said, you my poser when I want justice, you my poser when I want freedom. His only poser, the only person that was against him was his own people. And I was just like, man, but he still was in that mindset of how they were out to get him. And I don't mind if that mindset is motivates you to raise some all-time great tennis champions, but I don't mind if he used that as his motivation. But it is worth pointing out that it was that Keisha across the street calling Child Protective Services saying he being too hard on his daughters. That was that blew me away. That blew me away. And the story with the Pookies actually turned out well, because y'all know how it go. And this I'll drop the link. I'll drop the link right now, because we're not quite an hour in, but I do want to get a little discussion on this one going. So I dropped the link, but it is worth pointing out. This part is worth pointing out too. You know how a lot of the Pookies and Ray Rays in the hood, when they see that person, that basketball star, he got that potential, he got that NBA potential. It's like hands off of him, leave him alone. They kind of protect the future potential NBA star. Excuse me. Eventually, when they one of the hood dudes was like, "Hey man, I see what you're doing with your daughters, man. I see what you're doing, man. I got your back." And then it's like they gave him protection after that. They eased up off of him. It took them a while to realize that he had the equivalent of that next NBA star or that next football star. He just was doing it with tennis, so they didn't see it at first. But eventually they saw it and they realized that, oh, he raising some blue chip millionaires right here. Okay, we gonna ease off. So they gave him that Pookie protection after a while, after they beat him up the whole movie. But but so yeah, that was one little area where it, where it kind of put a bow on it, but overall, it was just a crazy thing how you just couldn't help but notice the degree in which, you know, the whole movie practically the whole movie, every chance they got, he made a statement about racism, about the Klan, about you name it. You name it. He had some gripe, some complaint about it, which is understandable. I mean, he's a brother born in Louisiana in 1942. Understandable. But we have to acknowledge the parallels that it's gotten to a point to where if you're doing what you're supposed to do, ain't nothing in your way. Ain't nothing in your way, ain't nothing stopping you. The only thing that's probably in your way is your own people. And that's what I saw happening there. That's what I saw happening there, where it was getting dangerous to the point to where it was like, man, we're not going to even be able to train in our local little Compton tennis court, even though it's fascinating that it's a tennis court in Compton somewhere. But it was getting dangerous to the point because it was too much hood junk going on right around him. He training them, and this dude, it's all kind of just drug deals going on right behind him. It's all kind of stuff, going on. So it was potentially getting to that point to where where he wasn't going to. It was the own environment that from his own people that ultimately was in the way of what he was trying to do. And the link is in the chat. If anybody, damn it, I'm trying to do something. Shit, why isn't that working? I'm trying to do something. Y'all can't see what I'm trying to do, so I apologize. Yeah, I can't tell why I got it. There we go. Hold on. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. Link is in the chat. Link is in the chat. Anybody can come up and have their say on this, but again, do want to hark back on the positive. This was a great movie, depicted a great black father that did some great things, even though the I thought they were bastard babies, but they were actually from a marriage. But it's the bastard babies trying to come out the woodwork and say he a deadbeat. But but yeah, no, this is depicted a great black father. It was really good. I don't know if Will Smith will win an Academy Award for it. Hope he at least get nominated. I mean, he should have won for Ali, but they needed to. They had to rob him. They had to rob him because Denzel Washington was up for Training Day, so it was like they both was nominated at the same time. So yeah, they needed to rob him because you can't let Fresh Prince win an Oscar before Denzel Washington. You just can't do that. So they had to give it to Denzel Washington. So I get it. So they robbed Will Smith on Ali. A few other performances that Will Smith did that was that was worthy. That was worthy. The movie Ali wasn't trash. It just could have been better. It was good. It had nothing but potential to be great. But Will Smith's performance was worthy of winning the Oscar over that Training Day performance, hands down, hands down. So it's like they owe Will Smith one, so they want to give it back. They want to give Will what they owe him on this one. I'm with it. They do that a lot at the Oscars. Al Pacino didn't win the Oscar for Scarface. But they gave it to him for Scent of a Woman when he played some blind dude or something like that. Some blind dude who couldn't see, but I can smell the scent of a woman. But anyway, they gave him the Oscar on some corny stuff just to make up for not giving it to him on Scarface. They should have gave Denzel Washington the Oscar for Malcolm X, but they gave it to him for Training Day to make up for that one. In my mind, they do that. I don't know if it's actually accurate, but it seemed like that's what they do. Yeah, Pierre. Ali wasn't trash. The Ali movie was not trash. It just wasn't as good as it should have been. It was like some long, drawn out, boring parts. I don't know if it should have ended at the Rumble in the Jungle. I don't know if it should have ended there. because he did a lot after that, you know. But I don't know. It was good though. It was good. It just could have been better. Just could have been better. I would have liked to see it. I would have liked to see it do more. I would have liked to see it go a little further. But good movie nonetheless. But I hope Will Smith get at least nominated because he definitely did a damn good job. Definitely did a damn good job. Shout out to Sun is Hot Ra in the building. Says, hold up, let me make that bigger. Says, we kept you and your daughter safe out here in these streets. You need to break us off something. And that's what that was. Some poor attempt at a ghetto protection racket. Yeah, that happens. That's what they do. They see somebody got that potential to make it big. Yeah, the Pookies get them that protection. Eventually, they got that Pookie protection, but they didn't see it at first because they was hood stumping the dad out when he was protecting his daughters from them. But eventually, they realized that okay, I see what he's doing. But yeah, and it's hoping he throw him back a couple dollars. I'm pretty sure he didn't throw their ass nothing. Some of them biological kids ain't even getting nothing. Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness was a beast. Pursuit of Happiness was a beast. Yeah, he could. I think he got nominated but didn't win for that one. That was, I think, was that the one when Jada Pinkett Smith was like boycott the Oscars? Jada Pinkett Smith said she was boycotting the Oscars, and Will Smith, Chris Rock responded by saying Jada Pinkett Smith is boycotting the Oscars. He was like, that's like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I was never invited. You can't boycott a place that they didn't even care to have you there to begin with. So yeah, but no, Pursuit of Happiness, that was one where he definitely could have won. Okay, we're talking about Oscar-worthy movies. Okay, Academy Award-winning performances. Hitch doesn't count, even though Hitch was pretty good. Hitch was good. It was a good rom-com, romantic comedy. Hitch was a good romantic comedy, and Hitch was the first time I ever saw the concept of a dating coach on screen. That was the first time I ever saw the concept of a dating coach. Oddly enough, ARC said people back when Hitch came out, ARC said people was calling him Hitch. That was interesting. That that the idea and concept of a dating coach been out and been around for a minute. The idea and concept of a dating coach been out and been around for a minute. But I had no idea until I stumbled onto these online spaces, and then I saw that there's a such thing as an actual dating coach. I was kind of blown away by that. I didn't know it was a thing. All right, I'm going to give this a few more minutes. And then we can I will wrap it up. Yeah, I know I run out of spit. I ain't got nothing but an hour to talk by myself. Every now and then I do 2-3 hours by myself. Every now and then. But for the most part, I got an hour. I give y'all an hour by myself. Only if I got multiple topics, like if I was gonna push pause, put a pin in all this and do a whole nother show, a whole nother topic, then yeah. But no, just one topic, you get 1 hour. Says Hitch was the inspiration of the Black Manosphere. No. Will Cole have gotten Best Supporting Actor for Legend of Bagger Vance? I'm pretty sure he didn't. I'm pretty sure he wasn't nominated for that. Let me Google Will Smith. I'll tell y'all real quick what he should have got nominated for and what he should have won for. Tell y'all real quick. Since we're on the topic, let me pull it on up. Let me go to Internet Movie Database and pull out his filmography, as they call it. Filmography. Nope, his actor filmography. We don't need to see his producer director filmography. Only need to see. Nope. Only need to see where he acted. All right. Holy crap! They making a Bright 2? No, they can't make a Bad Boys 4. Am I seeing that right? Don't make a Bad Boys 4. Okay, let me share this for you. I do not want to see a Bad Boys 4, even though Bad Boys 3. You know, Bad Boys 3 wasn't bad. But Bright, that movie where, like that movie on Netflix, it was a straight to Netflix movie. It was actually pretty good. It was basically a movie that if everything in Lord of the Rings would have just kept going and made it into modern westernized civilized times, that's what it would look like. There was elves, humans, orcs, and the whole thing, and trying to have a peaceful, modern, westernized world together. And it was, of course, it ain't gonna be completely peaceful, but that's kind of how it was. And the racism was layered, with orcs were at the bottom, humans were like in the middle, and elves were like the rich people at the very top. And it was interesting. It was interesting. I like that. I like that movie. But so they're making a Bright 2, so which I'm glad. I'm glad, because that was actually good. And Emancipation. All right, let's see. We're supposed to be looking at. Okay, so nominated for King Richard. Yeah, that was he should get nominated for that. Not Gemini Man, not Student of the Year. I don't know what the hell that is. Collateral Beauty. That's one I haven't seen. Concussion. That was the one where Jada Pinkett Smith lost her shit and said that it's time to boycott the Oscars, even though she wasn't invited. That was like Chris Rock boycotting Rihanna's panties. He was never invited. You can't boycott it. But that was the one where, yeah, he should have gotten nominated, if not won for that. He didn't even get nominated. So that was the one. Another Earth, meh. Nope. These are good movies, like I Am Legend, Men in Black 3. Those are good movies. But Pursuit of Happiness got nominated but lost. That was fair. That should have got nominated. It didn't necessarily have to win. What else? Nope, that was it. I used to love Enemy of the State, Men in Black, Independence Day. All right, I'm all the way into the 90s now. It's not until Ali that he gave a performance worthy of being nominated. So he got nominated and lost there in 2001. He got back in there again in 2006 for Pursuit of Happiness and lost. They should have won for Ali. That was okay to lose for Pursuit of Happiness. It was good, but it wasn't just hands down slam dunk. Concussion definitely should have been at least nominated. He didn't even get nominated. And no other. So he's given 4 Academy Award worthy performances, and by that I mean just worthy of being nominated. He's getting 4. All right, so that's it. Concussion was the one I forgot about. So King Richard, Concussion, Pursuit of Happiness, Ali. Those is 4. Those is 4 right there, where he can definitely make the claim that he should. Oh, 7 pounds was good. 7 pounds was good, but it wasn't, his performance was just, it was just good. It was good. It was good. It was good. I don't like how we try to do that every time a black person don't win or don't get nominated. We make a big stink about it. Like damn near everything Tom Hanks do is worthy of being nominated for an Oscar, but he don't get nominated every year. Like, so we got it. So that there, go back to that victim stuff. They out to get us. They trying to stop us. They trying to hold us back. They don't want to see us shine. Will Smith had a good performance. He didn't get nominated.
You don't find that suspicious?
Yeah, we got to cut it out with some of that. But all right, cool. We about to be in and out. Oh shoot, my bad, Clue. I'm almost missed you. He says drop your shutter speed on your camera to 60 hertz. I think that's where it's at, to get rid of those lines in your background. I think that's where it's at. I think it's already at 60 hertz. Those lines didn't used to be there. And by the lines, you're talking about the line that's floating up? Because that line right there, that black line that's going up, not the one that's going like that my hand is going with. I'm talking about the ones that are right. What hand? I'm talking about the one that's right there. The little black line on the screen. Those are like windows. Those are like window markers. If you're talking about that right there, not the one that's going up, but the still one. Everything is in reverse, so this is difficult. But the still one, that black line isn't a problem. That slow one that's going up, that didn't used to be there. I made some adjustments that made me come in more clear. But for whatever reason, on the screen, they're gonna do that. They're gonna do that. I probably will end up getting an authentic green screen. When I play with this a little more, it'll be a combination of a little bit of green screen, and with practical effects, with a wider still this up close shot, but then wider shots with more practical stuff around it. Like you'll see. It's still a moving and evolving process. It's still a moving and evolving process. But I got myself looking real HD. But you fix one problem, then other problems show up. Thus that line floating behind me. But there's a way to get rid of that. I'll figure it out. Yeah, you're talking about the rising horizontal line. Okay, yeah. That rising horizontal line. Yeah, that just popped up over the last two streams when I made myself look more HD. But all right, y'all. Well, we about to wrap this thing on up. Do a quick, fast, quick, easy show. Fast, quick, easy show. I started to do this when pre-recorded. Actually, I take that back. I did do it pre-recorded. And then I never got around to finishing the editing because I kind of hate editing. I used to have an editor, but I hate editing. I figured out how to do all the editing, but then I realized I don't like to do it. So I probably need to rehire the editor. But anyway, let's get up on out of here. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in any way, shape, or form. Whether you super chatted, Cash App. I don't got my phone on me to even know if anybody hit the Cash App. If you did, oh, here you go. If you did hit the Cash App, I probably can get no Cash Apps today because everybody liked the super chat. But just double checking so I can acknowledge you while we're here real quick. But we about to make it up on out of this piece real quick. About to make it up on out of here real quick. Just checking. Hurry up. Why my phone act on some Negro wireless stuff? My phone moving slow as hell. Nope. Only one. Well, it was a Cash App yesterday from Sora Seed, or the day before yesterday. Shout out to Sora Seed if you're listening. But with that said, everybody, we are out of here. Peace. We are gone.